5, 4, 3.
Our beloved 8% Hard AF Seltzer is now live in over 1,200 locations across the United States. We're now available in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, Ohio, and Texas. Go to hardafseltzer.com today, click on the store locator, enter your city or zip, and find the nearest location closest to you. Locations. 2,500.
Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com.
Yeah, welcome to Drinkin' Bros Kids Special Emergency Edition on a Sunday night. Typically, we don't do these shows in studio on the weekend. Obviously, with last night's events, we are going live today. We'll be joined by Tim Kennedy. We'll also cut into President Joe Biden's speech here at the top of the hour in about 8 minutes. And then afterwards, Rob O'Neill, the man responsible for killing Osama bin Laden, will be joining us.
And then we'll have Dallas Alexander as well, who's
correct.
a JTF-2 Tier 1 sniper. That he was the spotter. If you remember, he's the country singer, right? Mm-hmm. He was the spotter for the longest confirmed kill in history. Not this Ukrainian bullshit.
Right,
like
right.
Real ones.
Right.
Like, oh, I got guys 7 miles.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, did you?
Tim Kennedy, good to see you, friend. Sorry it's under these circumstances.
Yeah, it's
Where
terrible.
were you last night when President Trump was shot?
So we were on the range, the special operations unit that I'm in, and one of the guys walked back to his car. It was hot, and I got all these. We're getting after it pretty hard. The allocation was about 2,500 rounds per shooter, so we're doing lots of drills. And if you've ever been to a military range or any military activity, they take the fun out of everything. So if you're like, oh, wow, you're at the range having a ton of fun, like until you're on your hands and knees, like picking through tall grass because they won't cut it to find every single brass casing, and then anyways. So we're on the range and a guy goes back to his truck to hopefully hydrate. And he's like, man, somebody just tried to kill Trump. I think Trump just got shot. And the whole entire range, you could hear a pin drop, like ceasefire called, and guys come over and they're like, no, this isn't real. This isn't real. And it was real.
Yeah.
So there's, 12 special operations guys that were just sitting there with their mouths open, like, what is going on right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Dan, where were you?
I was actually watching a documentary about Teddy Roosevelt, ironically.
Really?
Yeah, no shit. I was watching it's a 2-parter on not the Learning Channel, whatever. I can't remember what it is.
PBS?
No, it's something like that. Yeah, the teaching company. That's it. Yeah, I've got a subscription. Of course, I've got a subscription to that shit. I was watching it. I was like halfway through the first episode. Right before I went back and watched it later, but it was right before. It was 15 minutes before the story about him getting shot and continuing on to the. He actually lost that election, by the way. So hopefully that's not the case here. But yeah, that's what I was doing.
Gotcha.
I had no idea that even happened. Social media was away for the day.
Yeah, I was with my children at the pool and checked a text message from my father, and he said Trump had been shot. I didn't believe it. Obviously, turned on the news like everybody else, and it was wall-to-wall coverage.
Yeah.
It was unavoidable. And it was one of those things where I was with my kids, who were 5 and 10 at the time, and as a parent, I didn't really know what to do.
Yeah.
Do you show your children what's happening in the world when a president there's an attempted assassination?
Yeah.
And then I thought back to when I was a small child, was 4 years old, when President Reagan got shot, and my parents had it on television, and I ended up watching it with them, so I decided to leave it on.
Yeah.
I answered their questions, and there was a lot of shock, a lot of disbelief, and no one could really understand how it happened. We'll cut back to the president here in 5 minutes when he goes live, but as I was watching it unfold and then flipping back and forth between social media, I just don't understand, having gone to a million rallies, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian rallies, over the course of my life, how someone could get so close to the president to assassinate him. What we are told now was it was about 150 yards.
Yep. As soon as you saw the pictures and we saw the video, it's pretty easy to go onto like Onyx or Google Earth, and everybody was doing this. They're starting to measure things. The ranges were, I think, initially from like 120 meters to 450 meters were the furthest. And every single one of those initial measurements, all of them are so pathetically, insanely, horrifically close. The ineptitude is beyond my comprehension. This defies every single SOP that we know the Secret Service has and tries to practice. And I don't want to disparage the people on the ground. There were a lot of mistakes that were going to be made, but I do believe that their hearts, like they're there as patriots. They're trying their best, but no matter how hard they try, when your organization is rotten to the core, and like the majority of our current .gov, .doj, when you are trying to hire at 30% to meet some DEI requirement, when you don't have the resources, the funding, the training, the personnel, there is just a labor shortage, there is a skill shortage, and there's an ability shortage on the ground. And it was on display the whole entire time, from the exterior, the perimeter, to obviously the screening, to the pre-deployment site surveys, to the identification of potential shooting positions, to actions on the X, to getting the President Trump off of the X, the exfil, to every single place that I looked, I was like, oh, that's bad.
It was the wrong decision.
That's bad.
We can start from the beginning, the site survey, right? Which would happen. I mean, it's a busy campaign season, but this stuff happens at a minimum weeks in advance, typically. Sometimes as short as 3 days, right? Well, I guess sometimes as short as 1 day if it's a impromptu thing, but typically no less than 3 days. Any place that would be a potential sniper position, whether it's out to about fucking 1,000 to 1,200 meters, typically in a place like that, they're going to send somebody out, usually a counter sniper team, somebody from a counter sniper team that knows what they're looking for, to find potential hides, right? Like if you see a building that has line of sight to where the stage is going to be, that has a ladder permanently affixed to the back of it, the very least you would do is put a fucking armed police officer right there. You don't move.
Cop.
You do not move.
At the worst.
It doesn't matter who it is. Somebody with a gun stands there and you don't move. If you got to go piss or something, you get on the radio, have somebody else come stand there. That post specifically never gets walked away from, right? Ever.
Yep.
That's the most basic thing of all time, right?
Yeah. And last time I was with Mr. Trump was 2016. I was invited to sit with my wife and his family at one of the rallies in Wilmington, North Carolina, and we had to show up about 4 hours early. They were doing perimeter checks 4 hours early from, it looked like a mile and a half out from where the actual podium was, and the podium was preset. So I'm assuming the podium is set that many hours in advance just so you can find out all the angles at which somebody might come at you from.
It happens way before that. It's not hours. It's not days. It's weeks.
Yeah.
For example, in Normandy, just a month ago, the President Biden was coming out. He was going to Pointe du Hoc, and I had the pleasure to talk with the Secret Service that were there. Very competent, professional experts in their field. They're clearing every imaginable direction, every point of view, every vantage point. There was not an inch of ground that wasn't controlled. And it's on this spectrum of incompetence to include negligence and lack of professionalism and lack of training on this spectrum, all the way to complicit, I am more of the opinion that they're so inept to do their job, the thing that they're supposed to do, which is protect their principal, that whether it is directly complicit or passively complicit, they are so dangerously inept that something like this could happen. This is not a skilled person. This appears to be a 20-year-old idiot.
With no military background.
With no training, with no shooting ability, with no infiltration ability, so you also have these red cell teams that are walking out in the crowds, and you identify in the site surveys threat areas and threat groups.
I mean, you get rundowns from local police about any knuckleheads in the area. That's how deep this shit goes, right? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, do you have any problem people in the neighborhood that are fucking protesting all the time, or meth heads, or anybody that's had gun charges, like shit like that, right? You know about that.
Yeah. You can go back to 2010. President Obama is going to Trinidad. 7th Special Forces Group, Trinidad Tobago, is in control. That's who I was with at the time. 7th Group, while they're there for a JSET, a Joint Combined Exercise for Training with the Trinidad military and law enforcement, they repurpose guys to go and do portions of these site surveys. So you have U.S. Special Forces snipers that are running around doing the lift of these site surveys to hand over information to the arriving Secret Service counter snipers.
Like making...
I hate to interrupt you here, so we'll cut to Joe Biden.
Right. Turn that up.
President of the United States address to the nation.
We are not enemies. We're neighbors. We're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back. Take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. We do not know the motive of the shooter yet. We don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support, or if he communicated with anyone else. Law enforcement professionals, as I speak, are investigating those questions. Tonight, I want to speak to what we do know. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing. We cannot, we must not go down this road in America. We've traveled before throughout our history. Violence has never been the answer. Whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th, or a brutal attack on the spouse of former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, or information and intimidation on election officials, or the kidnapping plot against the sitting governor, or an attempted assassination on Donald Trump. There is no place in America for this kind of violence, or for any violence ever. Period. No exceptions. We can't allow this violence to be normalized. You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that. Yes, we have deeply felt strong disagreements. The stakes in this election are enormously high. I've said it many times that the choice in this election we make in this election is going to shape the future of America and the world for decades to come. I believe that with all my soul. I know that millions of my fellow Americans believe it as well. And some have a different view as to the direction our country should take. Disagreement is inevitable in American democracy. It's part of human nature. But politics must never be a literal battlefield, and God forbid, a killing field. I believe politics ought to be an arena for peaceful debate, to pursue justice, to make decisions guided by the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. We stand for an America, not of extremism and fury, but of decency and grace. All of us now face the time of testing as the election approaches. And the higher the stakes, the more fervent the passions become. This places an added burden on each of us to ensure that no matter how strong our convictions, we must never descend into violence. The Republican convention will start tomorrow. I have no doubt they'll criticize my record and offer their own vision for this country. I'll be traveling this week making the case for our record and the vision, my vision of the country, our vision. I'll continue to speak out strongly for our democracy, stand up for our Constitution and the rule of law, to call for action at the ballot box, No violence on our streets. That's how democracy should work. We debate and disagree. We compare and contrast the character of the candidates, the records, the issues, the agenda, the vision for America. But in America, we resolve our differences at the battle box. You know, that's how we do it, at the battle box, not with bullets.
Battle box?
Ballot.
The power to change
shout out for
always
Battle
rests
Box.
in the
Yeah,
hands of the
BattleBox.
people,
They got cool
.com.
shit.
not in the hands of a would-be assassin. You know, the path forward through competing visions of the campaign should always be resolved peacefully, not through acts of violence. You know, we're blessed to live in the greatest country on earth, and I believe that with every soul, every power of my being. So tonight, I'm asking every American to recommit, to make America, think about it. What's made America so special?
Jesus Christ.
Here in America, everyone must be treated with dignity and respect, and hate must have no safe harbor. Here in America, we need to get out of our silos, where we only listen to those with whom we agree, where misinformation is rampant, where foreign actors fan the flames of our division to shape the outcomes consistent with their interests, not ours. Let's remember, here in America, while unity is the most elusive of all goals right now, nothing is more important for us now than standing together. We can do this. You know, from the beginning, our founders understood the power of passion. And so they created democracy that gave reason and balance a chance to prevail over brute force. That's the American we must be. An American democracy where arguments are made in good faith. An American democracy where the rule of law is respected. An American democracy where decency, dignity, fair play aren't just quaint notions, but living, breathing realities. We owe that to those who come before us, to those who gave their lives for this country. We owe that to ourselves. We owe it to our children and our grandchildren. Look, let's never lose sight of who we are. Let's remember we are the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
I won.
6 minutes.
I won.
Yeah.
I said 7. I was
You said
closest.
7. That's it, huh?
Price right rules here, though, because, like,
Yeah, you went. What are you talking about?
I mean,
He went under.
No,
So,
that's
yeah.
not Price is Right. You
No,
don't do
Price
that
is
with
Right rules. You
times.
went over them, so you lost.
You don't
Play
do
the
that with
music.
time.
Yep.
Play the music. Yep.
No,
Thank you.
You don't do that with time. That's
Yeah,
not how
you
it
do.
works.
Yeah. Sure
so
do.
did he just turn that into a political
Yeah,
plug
so
for
a
his
couple
own?
things.
Yes,
One,
yes.
one, there's no democracy, but there hasn't been a direct democracy on Earth since the 4th century BC in Athens, Greece. Okay, just to get that out of the way. Secondly, as Tobias Funke would say, you notice how he tried to pepper in all these alleged right-wing conspiracies? Like the one where the FBI tried to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer?
Yep.
And how Laughlin shot Gabby Giffords. By the way, paranoid, schizophrenic, apolitical, nothing to do with her pubes
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah,
Like-
he used like 6 examples trying
Yeah.
to paint a picture that grossly misrepresents the current anger and danger, I think, in this country. Insurrections that have happened in the past 6 to 8 years.
They're usually armed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're definitely armed.
That's usually like a really key signature part of an insurrection is armed, because otherwise you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, like somebody sat in Nancy Pelosi's chair, and that was 2 Pearl Harbors, right?
Yeah.
So J.D. Vance tweeted yesterday, and people gave him a little smoke for it, but I agree that the central premise of the Biden campaign has been that Trump is a fascist and that if he gets elected again, American democracy is over, right? That he's literal Hitler, he's Mussolini, whatever the fuck else. Like, this has been, and he's not wrong about that. That is exactly what the fuck's been going on for the last 8 years, actually,
Yeah.
with Trump. If this guy succeeds, America will end, right? And if you tell people that shit long enough, Bob, scroll down to what led to this, that header, and then find a genuine threat and click that. This is from Joe Biden right here. This is a tweet from Joe Biden 2 weeks ago. Go ahead and blow that up, throw that on there. He's a threat to our freedom. He's a threat to our democracy. He's literally a threat to everything America stands for. That's fucking Joe Biden 2 weeks ago. Well, it's the 20-year-old dummy that because Joe Biden couldn't write that to save his fucking life, right?
No.
But this has been the central premise of his campaign. Is that if Trump succeeds, then all of this goes away. All of America goes away. Now, how the fuck do you expect people to react to something like that? I don't want to hear this shit about, we got to turn the temperature down. No, fuck you, guy. You turned the temperature up. Now we're all going to fucking cook.
Yeah. Also, this felt directly like a campaign speech and less about an attempt on an assassination on a former president who you're running against.
Where was the buck stops here? We have implemented policies within the U.S. government in our hiring, in our training, with the culture of law enforcement, where they're scared to pull the trigger. You know, they're in all honesty, when I watched the video of those guys on the rooftop, they were not hunting. They looked like they were scared. And that's what happens when you have an organization like the U.S. government that is not empowering the person on the ground to make the right decision. We are rotten to the core at the top. I still believe that the men and women in uniform are doing the best with the resources that they have, and they're trying their hardest. But they cannot, when every opportunity they have to try and make a right decision, they're penalized for it. Have you seen the video of this Thomas Matthew Crooks, who allegedly, of him yelling at the police officers?
Yes.
Where he calls it, he's a fascist, they have to die. Like, this is what happens when there's rhetoric like that from the world leader saying the only way to get this done is to get rid of him. We couldn't indict him. We couldn't impeach him. We can't get him to jail. We can't ruin his finances. Carlson said it. Alex Jones has called it time and time again. It looks like the only direction is to do what they are now empowering and enabling people to do, which is try and kill Trump.
Yeah, and then you try to wash your hands of it. And to your point, Bob, go back to that list. To your point about this systemic rot inside of all government, right? It's the military, it's our agencies, particularly our protective agencies. Scroll down to the USS Incompetence, and the one in the middle right there. Good thing we diversified. This is an ad that the Secret Service ran about how we're going to boost women by 30%. 30% of our people are going to be. Jesus fucking Christ.
Go ahead and play this, Bum.
To expand hiring, they're aiming to have 30% women recruits by 2030, and even allowed YouTube influencer Michelle Carre to train with agents.
But I'm very conscious, as I sit in this chair now, of making sure that we need to attract diverse candidates and ensure that we're developing and giving opportunities to everybody.
Do you freeze when the goddamn gun goes off?
That workforce
yes or no?
will be
All right, kill it.
for the 2024.
And then click the next link. This is what you get when you fucking diversify. Blow this right on up. This is what you get when you diversify. Somebody cowering in fear while everybody else is on top of the principle.
Are you talking about Melissa McCarthy back there?
Yeah. If you don't want the fucking job, stay home. If you don't want the job, stay home. You don't get the badge and the gun. You don't get the respect unless you do the fucking work. Period. Man, God damn it. There's a worse picture of her, by the way, cowering even more.
Did you see her by the car?
Yeah,
where she's trying to
holster her gun.
Correct.
Yeah, over her fucking love handles. Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
She did have suspenders to keep her pants up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, there are some really great women operators out there.
We know them.
And they're incredible. They are so capable. And this isn't a gender thing. This is a capabilities thing. And this has to be merit based. When you're hiring somebody to fly an airplane, when you're hiring somebody to run into the sound of gunfire, when you're running into a fire, when you're throwing yourself between a threat and a principle, it has to be on somebody's capability and ability to do that job. And that has been lost. It doesn't matter. What matters is your skin color, your gender, your sexual orientation. None of those things matter in the success of preserving and protecting human life. And it can't continue down this path. Like the trajectory that we're on right now, we're going to have planes falling out of the sky. We're going to have people getting assassinated. We're going to have buildings burning to the ground with children and women inside of them, because we are not putting the right men and women in these roles to do this job. So I do agree with you in the sense that, like, damn you guys. Like,
look, we've got to do better as a country, but then the left would have to admit that you're hiring based on talent and not on a race or agenda or anything else. Sports, minus Bronny James, is the only thing in which we're hired on talent, and that's it. The best of the best are in there. If you're not good, fuck off. And why we're not doing that now at this current moment in our country, I don't have any idea. Right now, we're joined by Rob O'Neill, live from New York.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Rob, how are you? Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me. Sorry about the disconnect. I'm at Cape Cod. We don't have electricity up here.
Don't worry about
It's overrated.
Don't worry about it. Got a bunch of women working on your internet out there. I understand it. Were you able to catch the speech by President Biden?
You know, I saw it a little bit, but I must have tuned in late there as well because I missed where he fired the director of the Secret Service.
Oh, shit. Yeah, it didn't happen, Rob.
Obviously, that must have happened, but I didn't see it.
No, it didn't happen, Rob. Now, I want you, so we've got snipers all over the fucking place, apparently, this is the safest room in America right now, probably, except for maybe the convention center, because every Secret Service agent is there.
Yep.
Explain to the audience why this is so fucked up. Like from the top down.
The reason what I wanted to explain was like the first time as a Navy SEAL sniper, when I was employed was actually 1998 in Tirana, Albania, for a major exercise, and I was doing what's called a range card. And what you do is and I'm talking, I was 21, maybe 22 years old, and I'm assuming that handsome devil Tim Kennedy would agree with me. When you do a range card, you go out to at least 500 meters, and you're looking 360 degrees. And certainly any potential position elevated with a line of sight to the principal is way, way out of line, and a toddler could fucking see that. And so to look at what happened today and see that whomever was on whatever elevated position that close to the principal, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I love to be on both sides and not be a conspiracy theorist, but this is not real. It's got to be inside. There's no way that dude climbed up. There's no way that a deputy climbed up and saw him and backed down, and then he took quick. This doesn't pass a smell test, but it just fits in what the left is doing right now with what the communists do. Jail your opponents. You don't like your opponents, silence your opponents, then shoot your opponents.
Yeah, there's something really weird going on.
Am I off base here? Or?
No, there's something really weird going on. I want to address a couple of things. One is the cop going up the ladder. So I'm sure everybody has seen, there's multiple videos of different people saying they saw the shooter climbing up there, saw he had a rifle, and they tried to alert police and blah, 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 and they didn't respond or whatever. There's different accounts of it. And now today we find out that a patrol officer did try to climb the ladder and get up there, and the guy swung his rifle around on him, and that's when he turned back around and started shooting at Trump, right? A couple of things on that. If multiple people walk up to you and you're a cop and you're posted right there and they say, hey, there's somebody with a gun on that roof, you don't fucking crawl up there to take a peek. You get on the phone with fucking Secret Service and be like, hey, there's a guy over here. You give him distance and direction, and that's it. And let him fucking handle that problem. Now, to that point, the comms on site like that, and I'm sure you've dealt with this doing stuff here in Texas, the comms on site like that are fucked. Nobody's got the same equipment. Nobody's on the same channel. So usually what will happen is the two agencies will co-locate with somebody with each other or give one other guy a radio, right? That's typically how it's handled. And there's a delay there, right? There's a delay from, hey, hold on, yep, got it, and then you get on your other radio and you call that in. But, man, so I understand that part of it, if there was some kind of delay. What I don't understand is how the guy got onto the roof in the first place. That's the real issue.
That's precise. I don't mean to interrupt. That's precisely what I'm saying. The Secret Service did a great job. Who did the range card before? Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. It's one of those things to me where the kid looks like he's 120 pounds, soaking wet, no military background whatsoever. He's able to shimmy up a roof.
No, he didn't shimmy up a roof.
There's a permanent ladder on the back of that building.
So he was
there's
able
a permanent
to
ladder
get up
on the back
ladder
of a building 150 fucking meters away from the President of the United States.
And then swing a gun at a cop and then able to get off 8 rounds?
Yeah, you could take every E3 from CID, have them walk this, and every single one of them is going to put an X on that roof.
Yeah.
There's not a single... Yeah, from every single human on the planet that's ever carried a gun occupationally would look at that rooftop with 150-meter line of sight to a principal and be like, we should probably have that covered. Not that there's a ladder there, which there is. Not that it is the most perfect position to see the principal behind the podium with a complete clear angle of attack to that person. Like it is. So, Rob, just pick selectees, the people that are going to different positions, that are getting selected to go to advanced training. They're not the ones that need to, one, ever have the job, two, get the advanced training because they're not capable to fulfill the requirements of the job physically, mentally, intellectually. They just don't have the capability. That on a merit-based ability, they can't do the job. So is this an inside job, or are we just so broken that that's the problem?
I'm not saying it's an inside job whatsoever. I'm not saying that at all. But it's so simple. Like what I was doing right before I logged on here, I took my 4-year-old daughter to the ocean and we were swimming. She could have told me that's a bad idea to have a elevated position. Seriously, I'm not. It's like I wouldn't be surprised if it was Jack Ruby that took the shot and killed that supposed sniper. I don't know what the hell's going on here, but. It violates every aspect of tactics I've ever been involved with since I was 19 years old as a Navy SEAL. It just doesn't make sense. It's almost like I don't want to say the Democrats, but the communists can work to this. To either like, well, now we need to get together. Now we need to, whatever, as opposed to picking a side. But it's time to realize there's a force out there. Like they tried to kill President Trump, and you can't deny that. And even right now, they're saying, well, the FBI is definitely looking into this. Into what? The rest of us know what the fuck's happening. And it's not the Secret Service agents on the ground. It's not the detail. Even though there's 3 women out there, Christ Almighty, it looked like they were running around trying to make a sandwich. It's the upper echelons. It's the people that get there in Congress and wave their eyes. It's the higher up that are involved in the government. I'm not saying it's an inside job, but I almost wish it was because it's such incompetence.
Well, I'll tell you this: in the 82nd, if you were like a squad leader or a platoon sergeant or something like that, and you sent a guy to Ranger School or something like that, and he just like dipped out on the first day, you're getting your ass hemmed up, right? And that's typically how it works in a meritocracy. If you're a bad selector of talent, right? Or if you misrepresent the talent you have and then you get people killed, which is what happened yesterday, right? Then usually the price is your job. And we haven't heard a goddamn thing about that. Like, I know that it's going to be not very politically expedient for Biden to fire a female that's a head of an agency. But that is exactly what needs to happen right now. And to the other point that you're talking about, Rob, about perception and things like that, a man died yesterday. We got lucky with Trump, but maybe the worst thing that happened was that America's enemies saw what's supposed to be the most elite protection detail on earth look like a bunch of fucking idiots and get defeated by a child, a literal child, right? Like now, weakness invites aggression. That's how it works. That's why Trump was a good president, regardless if you liked his policies or his bluster. He was a good president because Bush, Russia invades Crimea, fucking Obama, Russia invades Georgia, or I'm sorry, reverse those, and then Biden, Russia invades Ukraine. Nobody invaded shit when Trump was there. And there's a reason. It's because he's an asshole. Yeah. That's the job, man.
It is, and it's also the job of the CIA and the FBI. You have to be an asshole. Yeah,
but both of which are rotten like the Secret Service right now. Yep. Like
all of our friends have left.
All of the good ones
all of our friends
are like,
have left.
I don't, or they're so frustrated and their hands are tied. Yeah. And in addition to the incompetence and ineptitude and the ability to do the job, the good ones are hamstrung right now. The good ones that are still in these organizations that are trying to make a difference, they can't because they'll get fired. Mm-hmm. They have targets on their back, literally and figuratively, where if they say the wrong thing about this overweight girl that was protecting President Trump, they'll get fired. It's like, no, she's not good enough to be in that role. Cool. Well, pack your bags. You don't understand what 2024 looks like to be in the Secret Service. You're right. I don't. But I do know what it looks like to protect a former president, and it doesn't look like that. So shame on you. And then they get fired.
Yeah. And now we've all seen the footage. Rob, I'll start with you on this one. If the president doesn't turn his head at the last second as he's motioning to the crowd, it appears to be it would have been a direct hit in the back of the head, and he's dead. Yeah. We're 0.3 seconds away from America today being in the middle of a civil war if he did not move his head to the right.
Yeah, no, that's totally true too, and it goes to show you how everything you know in life can change in the blink of an eye, and that's why this rhetoric matters. The Maxine Waters, when Joe Biden says we got to put a target on Donald Trump, when they say an existential threat to free, whatever they say, democracy, it all comes down to that one person that believes it. And this is very violent rhetoric, and it just shows you how quick that a bullet only needs to be right once. And that's all it takes. And it's the same thing with, I heard Dakota Meyer today said, before he said, I don't want another 9/11, but I'd love another 9/12. He put on social media today that today's as close as we've been to 9/12. And it might unify us, but it shouldn't come to this, because it should come to the reality of what's actually important. If you can inspire someone to, whatever happened, to try to shoot at a former president or a current president, we're not in the right spot here. We're not in a position, Donald Trump got trashed for saying shithole countries. We are turning into a shithole country. And then this is happening. They're trying to jail him. They're trying to do whatever, shut us down. We've all been canceled, and now they're trying to kill him. At what fucking point is look, no longer do we need to be friends. You need to decide if you want America or not, because we're losing.
Well, according to Biden tonight in his speech, which sounded like a campaign speech rather than an apology and trying to unite the country, I saw a lot on social media yesterday, staged. So hashtag staged was number 2 right after Trump got shot. Yeah. A lot of people on the left think it was staged. Well, maybe now, somebody got the perfect photo, and they're probably going to win a Pulitzer for it. Oh, yeah. But it definitely was not staged.
No, I mean, and maybe all these people in the media and all these leftist dum-dums on the internet right now are going to get sued for $1.2 billion.
Same as Alex Jones.
Right? Why not?
Yeah.
Turnabout's fair play. And let me tell you this, no matter how much you hate the media, it's not enough. Mm-hmm. It's not enough.
It's so disgusting. The past 24 hours.
Margaret Brennan, who's a CBS anchor, was criticizing Trump for standing back up and yelling, fight. I don't think in the circumstance that kind of rhetoric was necessary. Are you fucking kidding me?
Not only that, when was the last time she was shot? I mean, the fact that he was even able to get up, Rob, was nuts to me. And
I'll tell you what it is.
They've been trying to also push this age thing on Trump.
I'll tell you what it is. It's cope. It's liberal cope, right? We just saw it with Biden. He's feeble. He can barely read 7 minutes. He can't even get to 7 minutes on a teleprompter anymore. He's done, right? And they want Trump to be done too. Yeah. But he popped right back up. They wanted him to get fucking killed last night. All these fucking leftists, have you seen this Destiny guy? You know, Destiny, that fucking retard on Twitter? Yeah. He's lost his mind. I hope he fucking died, blah, blah, blah. Just losing his shit about everything now. This is, remember that woman that was screaming in the street after Trump got elected? Mm-hmm. Same thing right now is happening because they know they just lost.
Yeah. Yeah, that one photo when he got up and yelled fight, that pretty much did it.
Yeah. Well, there's a better picture, too, when he was kind of being covered. And he's doing the same thing, but someone's hat flew down, and it's the inverted American flag, meaning, in distress. Mm-hmm. And that's what this country is. And it comes to a point where the communist media can only go so far. This is uniting the rest of us. And right now it's like a tattoo analogy. Like, it used to be dangerous to have a tattoo, and that was back in whatever, and it used to be dangerous to be a Trump supporter. Now it's like this is the face tattoo of 2024. It's cool to be a Trump supporter because it's America, and that's where seriously, and it's coming about, and this is like the death throes of the left. And I don't even like to say the liberals, because I think true liberals are different. These Democrats are communists, and these are the true fascists. Admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. They're doing exactly that. Jail them, doesn't work, kill them. And that we saw it happen in real time. And people like CNN, fucking Margaret Brennan, are going to blow it off like, well, we don't know what we're talking about.
Right. And I also want to point out the timing of this, because not only did he pop up and get one of the most iconic photos in American history, but now the Republican convention starts tomorrow. Yeah. He's going to be giving a speech next weekend, which the world will be watching, where typically not a lot of people would tune into these conventions. The entire world will be watching Donald Trump give his speech.
At the end,
this weekend.
The most interesting thing, in my opinion, that's happened since yesterday is that Trump invited Nikki Haley to come speak Tuesday at the convention. And here's why it's interesting to me, because he's he's taking the opportunity to try to, no matter how much he disagrees with the neocons, to try to reunite the party. Mm-hmm. It's a very savvy political move. He's behaving more responsibly in the past 3 weeks since that debate than I've ever seen him behave in his or my life.
His post on Truth Social, they said that they're going to postpone his arrival to Milwaukee. He's like, nah. I'm going to be there right on time. Looking forward to seeing everybody. I'm going to go play a round of golf.
Yeah.
I mean,
he played 18 holes today. Actually,
are you kidding? No, I didn't hear that.
Straight up.
That's incredible.
I think I've got a story about it.
Yeah, they have a video of these girls having a little brunch as he pulls up in the golf cart in the polo, and it is pretty freaking epic.
All the way at the bottom, maybe.
How does the ear look? I haven't seen it.
It's PGA-TUOR. It's like a fake tour golf site. But there's somebody that was his cart boy at Bedminster today.
Oh.
Now go to Twitter.
As they're looking, at what point do we get to start holding the media accountable? Where CNN is posting Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls. Another one, loud sound makes Trump fall. Another one, loud sound being investigated as a possible assassination attempt.
Incident was used a lot.
Incident was used a lot.
No. Assassination is what tried.
Biden just did it again. They keep calling it a shooting. It was not a shooting. It was an attempted assassination.
He said assassination attempt.
He did in this one, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, in this one? Okay.
The very first thing that
he said he
called
didn't
it.
know.
No,
the tweets. Yeah.
No, in the live broadcast that he just did, he said a former Trump, not even former President Trump.
Well, you don't know how he identifies now.
Yeah, I don't want to judge that, Tim.
Yeah. I'm never going to say that was a shooting. And to ever slip that in there, and it was written in there, he did call it an attempted suicide, but then he also called it a shooting. Like, no, every time. That is an attempted assassination attempt of a former president. And don't let people get away with changing language because it matters, and words matter. And the media is doing it in a disgusting way right now. That is disingenuous, and it's dangerous. They're pointing the finger back at Trump, that it was his rhetoric and it was his positioning, and it's that political party that is and violence is necessary to solve it. But look at what Trump said. Like,
even Forbes headline this morning said this will help Trump more with black voters, that he got shot.
Yeah. Because black people get shot all the time, which is actually accurate. Bob, pull up that tweet and read it right quick. I don't know if this is real or not. This is something that somebody posted on Reddit.
It's on Reddit that your Twitter account posted.
Reddit Golf.
Yeah.
Reddit
Golf. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I'm going to choose to believe this is true.
I saw a video, and that was the shirt he was wearing, and that was the hat that he was wearing.
Yeah, maybe.
So, I know that's his normal go-to outfit.
Bob, go ahead and read this.
So the title is Trump's Round Today, American Flag. I'm a cart boy at Trump Bedminster, where Trump played today, just about 16 hours after getting nearly assassinated. He was in high spirits, which was great. Took time to chat with a lot of the staff, allowed us to follow him for a bit. There was a decently big group with him. Anyway, I was able to watch him putt on the 9th green. He had about a 20-footer with probably 2 feet of break. Sure enough, he drains it and goes, difference between me and the shooter is that I don't miss.
I pray this is real, but there's no way. There's no way. I love it so much. I probably wrote that.
Just let it be real.
Great, yeah.
Those guys, like Reagan, when that pop goes off, he's like,
miss me.
Yeah, miss me.
Yeah.
When you're at the tip of the on that stage at that highest level, some of those guys just got it. You know.
Well, it's hard to explain to somebody that hasn't been in gunfights before, but your brain operates at a different. You're almost like unconscious. It's like being in the zone when you're playing sports. Like you're just doing shit and you don't even know what the fuck you're doing half the time, but everything's right. Actually, there is a reasonable analogy to civilian life. What is it called? That it's something about when you're driving and your brain just goes numb, but you make all the right decisions the whole time. There's a phrase for it. But your brain just goes on autopilot and does the right thing.
Sicko mode.
Maybe it is.
Travis Scott.
Well, he murdered a bunch of people too. So
and he's got a lot to say. But question for the three of you: have you guys been shot during gunfights, and what was your response to it?
I've never been shot. No.
You?
I'm actually good at
Rob?
my job.
No, I've been shot at a bunch, and I've been lucky.
Okay.
Same, Lucky.
Tim?
Yeah, same.
I walked out into a T intersection one time with 3 other dudes and snapped right over our heads, and we all just like stopped and then started going backwards really slow, like fucking Peter Griffin. Yeah, that's the closest I ever came. Shit.
Okay, because for me, watching it last night in real time, and then obviously going to Twitter and watching it over and over and over again, a 68-year-old man popping up like, or a 78-year-old man, excuse me, popping up like that, and then screaming, fight, fight, fight. And he did say, wait. So as they were trying to carry him off stage, he said, no, wait, fuck it. I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
fight.
By the way, somebody should have had him by the nape of the neck, dragging him the fuck off of the X.
He's a big fella.
I do agree.
He's a big fellow in real life. He's about 6'3", 215, Bob, on that?
No, he's bigger than that.
I'm kidding.
That's what it says.
On the...
He's cut, yeah. No.
on that perp walk in Atlanta, I think he came in at 6'3", 215.
Highway hypnosis is what that's called.
8-pack, I think. He's got an 8-pack, or the first guy with a 12-pack.
He's got a 16-pack.
Yeah. But no, in real life, he's probably 265 to 275-ish.
Yeah, probably.
6'3". He's a big boy.
Yeah.
And it took men to get him down. I did not see a female, except the one cowering behind him.
There are 2 girls, one of which...
On top of the president?
Yeah, oh no, there was one girl cowering behind him. There was one other woman that was like on principle, so like in immediate vicinity that piled on there, and she was also the one that was giving direction. And I thought she actually had some command presence.
She did, yeah. So somebody starts saying, hey, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, that shouldn't be a question, right?
Yeah, I don't think we should ever rehearse an exfil. That's not necessary.
And that's what it seemed like happened, right?
No, that is what happened.
Yeah.
They had no idea what they're doing.
No, Tim, you could hear them counting. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now 1, 2, 3. Up. What do we? And it was actually President Trump that said, "Let me get my shoe. Hang on a sec."
The principal is not in charge of fucking shit. Once gunfire starts happening, he's not the president anymore. He's the principal. That's it. Yeah. If he can be mad about it later, but he'll be mad with less holes in his body.
So last month, he asked for extra Secret Service detail. There was some rumors in his camp that there could possibly be an assassination attempt. To me, that's a no-brainer, and it was granted by Biden. With Biden, does he have the capability to say, hey, here's who's coming with you on that?
I mean, he can give any order he wants to an agency director. Yeah, he's the president of the United States. He controls executive branch.
Okay.
But that's not typically something you would go to the president for.
Gotcha.
Right? I mean, the Secret Service director should fucking handle that situation.
Well, I mean, it's under the DHS, and so it's Alejandro Mayorkas down to the secretary, what's her name, Cheadle or whatever. But and I'm amazed right now because, like, you know, you guys have been in the military. Like, if something like this happened, our top 3 would be fired
for
today.
sure. For sure.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so much because, like, as far as the presidential detail, the men and women that jumped on the president, that was awesome because if you've ever been shot at, they ran to the sound of the gunfire, but it's the higher ups that, like, what the fuck, man? Yeah. Why did you put your people in that position? And you're never going to hear Barack Obama and Big Mike, who are running the show, you're not going to hear them tell Joe Biden to fire someone. It's just never going to happen. But it's insanity to watch these government bureaucracies that they want to protect us for always until now. I'm sorry, it wasn't my fault. Let me pass it on to somebody else.
Well, you know what you're seeing right now is a ship without a captain. There is no president right now.
No.
There's an empty suit in the Oval Office, and everybody's taking turns doing all of the jobs that the president's supposed to do, covering down for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But nobody has the command authority to do what actually needs to get done, right? This is a rudderless ship with no captain. That's what this is.
Even more dangerous, they're so focused on protecting themselves, their interests, and their political beliefs that supersedes the actual duty. And the duty has always been the call about why people would go into this industry, why people would throw themselves on top of another person and sacrifice their life for somebody else. The greatest thing that you can do is give your life for someone else. And they're doing it because it's the right, selfless thing to do, and that's because of duty. Well, that's no longer the purpose for being there. Now the purpose is power. Now the purpose is DEI. Now the purpose is the protection of these ideals and these institutions that they've created that are seemingly untouchable. They have to be abolished. They have to be dismantled. They have to be ripped down to the core and then rebuilt. They have to be burnt to the ground. And and no, don't take that out of context. I'm using it in
figurative.
Yeah, in a figurative, metaphorical state. And then we can, like, as a phoenix rising from the ashes, have something new. But until then, they're broken.
Men didn't love Rome because she was great. Rome was great because the men had loved her, right? Mm-hmm. It's G.K. Chesterton. It's a very famous line. I use it a lot, but it underscores what it means to be a cop or a teacher, right? Or a fucking nurse or a soldier or whatever else.
Or Secret Service agent.
Secret Service. Any of that stuff. Right. It's something greater than yourself that you're literally willing to die for. And if you don't have that, you don't belong in that fucking job, man. Yeah. Because you're going to get yourself killed or somebody else killed.
So in that, a police officer climbing a ladder, Rob, you're climbing a ladder because you hear people screaming he has a gun for 3.5 minutes.
Right.
Where's your gun?
My gun is out. I've got my probably my secondary. I'm climbing this way. I'm going to engage.
That's right.
And you keep your gun right at fucking eye level. And when you break defilade, that weapon's on target. It's
the first and last thing that person ever sees is your eye and your barrel. Yes. That's it.
If someone, not necessarily below me, beneath me, but someone that doesn't have the eyes on, or does have eyes on that I can get the angle, and they're yelling, he or she has a gun or is a threat. I'm not going in there to back down. This is where the rubber meets the road. Yeah. And I'm going up there to engage. That's it.
One,
and so
two.
I'm not buying that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, 100% agree. Moving on. Guys climbing on a negative pitch roof. We have 3 snipers. We have one that has 2 guys, both with 150 meters, or I think it was 163 meters from their position to the shooter's position. And you can see that they are zeroed on for 45 seconds to the shooter's location. The guy clearly passes the pitch, the top of the roof, and you see the sniper flinch, jump, come off his glass as the rounds start ringing out. Okay, Rob, you're a sniper. And you are looking in the direction. You got a distance and direction for a potential threat. You're on your glass, and a potential threat comes over the top of the roof line in the area that you're supposed to be a counter sniper and start shooting. Please tell me what you'll do.
Well, I mean, when I'm to a point, especially there where they're being told how to engage, if I see a potential threat, I'm taking the shot without question. Where I back up there is because of the place and time we're at, where how cops are treated. Look at the Marine who was on the subway, and he rolled with someone, choked him out, whatever, and he's going to prison because of rules of engagement, Tim. And you've seen it in Afghanistan, Iraq as well. Warriors hesitate because they start to wonder about their own families. Am I going to prison for this shot? Is that just paparazzi? Which is where we shouldn't be. Backing up your question, though, if I'm there, if I'm the sniper, I see that it's engaged, I'm engaging. I'm taking the shot, and I can deal with the consequences because I trust my guys out there. And I hope I'm answering the question you were asking me.
Yeah.
I mean, at the very least, if he's back behind deflated, I know he's, and my principal still, well, none of it makes sense, though. Because if I'm the counter sniper, but before I even take that shot, my spotter or somebody is going to fucking let the close team know to get him off of that fucking stage. Yeah. None of this shit happened.
Yes.
And pardon to interrupt you, gentlemen, but 2 sources have now just told NBC News that the Secret Service flagged the building near the rally site as a security concern, and investigators are scrutinizing how the gunman was able to scale it. No shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, so 2 sources inside the Secret Service have now told NBC News that it was flagged as a security concern and nothing was done about it.
Well, so this is where we're having.
I mean, it's just it's nuts.
It's not nuts though. Like if you look organizationally, the competing person for the presidency is asking for extra help for his security. The people that he's getting are undertrained. They're ill-equipped. They are not the right people originally selected. They're still asking. They know that a suicide or that an assassination attempt is coming. They may not even had enough manpower, enough labor to cover down on all of the threats. They should have had Red Salt teams out there in all of these X areas that were concerning. Enough snipers to cover every single line of sight.
Hire a private security company.
Yes,
to stand
they
there.
have to. They have to.
Like you got to do something.
At this point, my heart's breaking for the Trump family. Think about his kids right now.
I was on the phone. I saw you mention it too on Twitter today, but I was on the phone with 3 or 4 people that are friends with the family. Like, hey, reach out to Eric Prince and get some fucking private security on him now. Like, this can't happen again.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough. The service being provided is not good enough.
See, I'm worried about again, like Rob was just saying, about poor law enforcement right now, the culture and the nature of the conversation, and how everything's politicized. Like for sure, should somebody in the Trump family be calling an Eric Prince and be like, hey, what do I do? Who are the right people to talk to? How do I put a real private security team in place that I can trust? It's immediately going to be demonized. It's going to be taken out of context. It's going to be used to hurt the campaign. So how do you walk this fine line of like, oh, look, Trump is going to be using elite mercenaries. Yeah. It's just so toxic right now.
That's what they would say too. That's exactly what they're going to say.
Yeah, and according to NBC News, the Secret Service designated that rooftop as being under the jurisdiction of local law enforcement.
Buck stops here.
That's impossible.
The buck stops here.
So you have a ground force commander that is in charge of the entire area, and the county, the city municipal, the state, every single personnel gets controlled by that one person. He gets to employ who is going to be where and how, but it's his responsibility.
Incident command system.
That's it.
It's ICS. Yeah. It's been going on for fucking 40 years now. Cal Fire came up with this.
It's been going on for 5,000 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's absolute nonsense.
You made my veins start popping.
I know, and everything I'm hearing, I think we're all thinking the same thing.
Seriously, if you're the fucking...
They let this guy up there.
If you're the agent in charge of that detail and the fucking president gets clipped and your supervisor or somebody else comes to you and says, hey, what happened? Like, that was supposed to be the cops. That ain't on me.
They did say, it's a report from the Daily Beast, but I saw elsewhere too. Secret Service used over-relied on local cops to fill significant parts of its typical array of specialized protective units. That's a quote from the
exactly, and I'll read one more, Bob. They had meetings the week prior. The Secret Service ran the show. They were the ones who designated who did what they did. In the command hierarchy, they were the top. They were number one. So now the local police is obviously blaming the secret security.
The local police are right.
Yeah.
The end.
They are. And, by the way, too, I didn't read the report, but did they also add, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Yeah. And it was your fault, Mr. Lincoln, for stopping that slavery thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good God. Well, I mean, that's what happens, right? When you try to take their war away, they'll fucking kill you for it. They killed JFK for it. He didn't want to expand to Vietnam, and they killed him for it. Yeah. And that's what's happening right goddamn now because of all that fucking sweet cheddar. That's all it's about. People are all the conspiracy theory people are like, oh, it's fucking follow the money, the Jews or some whatever crazy bullshit people are saying. Follow the money, right? To Northrop Grumman, to General Dynamics, to fucking Lockheed, to Boeing, to all those companies. That's where the money's coming from, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as we sit here and read the headlines and who this guy is,
I don't believe
Thomas Matthew Crooks. Said he used his dad's gun to kill Trump. They also said he had explosives in the car and at his house. Now, the father himself seemed pretty freaked out about the whole situation.
That's because it's his gun.
Yeah, and he goes, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Well, what the fuck is going on is his crazy-ass kid got a hold of his gun that he didn't secure properly and went and tried to kill the president. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the video that that kid was in a BlackRock commercial?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that wasn't
wild.
true. By the way, it wasn't true.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
It looked a lot like him, but it was... debunked later.
Oh, we got another guy here.
Dallas Alexander is joined us here.
Dallas, I believe you're muted right now.
Native son, Dallas
Native
Alexander.
son. Pop on in here, Dallas.
Let's have a sniper off, you guys.
Yeah,
the three of you guys.
Off.
The three of you guys get after it.
How do we do that? Is it like, all right, let me see your longest quick kill?
I mean,
okay,
I think Dallas might have us all.
I think he's got the longest recorded one in history, correct?
He doesn't. What you don't realize is Dallas's camera is 1,000 meters away from him right now.
How's that Zoom working out, Dallas?
Dallas, I think you're muted.
Yeah, you're muted, buddy.
Yeah, excellent with a rifle, not so much with the laptop there, Dallas.
Hey, he didn't go there and talk him to death, homie. He got this.
Well, he's half native, so I don't know if Kathy Hochul has an opinion on that one, too. He doesn't even know the word computer.
Dallas, do you know how to spell the word mute in Canadian? Is he still on it?
Is he still in?
We got it.
There we
he
go,
is.
Dallas.
Yeah, put him up there.
How are you, sir? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We had you on a few months back. Talked about your sniper skills and everything else. How difficult was last night's shot?
Apparently, it was hard.
When you watched it, what was the first thought that went through your mind as you were watching the replay of the attempted assassination on President Trump?
Oh man, I had an immediate, in a split second, I had this instant feeling like that there's something going on, because it's so absurd that a rooftop overlooking a position like that close, like, it makes absolutely no sense. First thing I saw was that roof, and the second thing I saw was the water tower. And like, I was out here in Nashville. It was just on a TV screen, and I was like, this makes absolutely no sense.
Have you listened to the conversation up until you joined us?
Yeah, most of it. I was trying to figure out how to use Zoom, but I got it, I think.
Okay. Proud of you. Look, there's no way you got a college degree. I love you. You're a handsome man. That's all you need is this, friend, and then the way you're able to play the guitar these days. But yes, seeing it in person like that, for a 20-year-old kid, a lot of people are asking, how hard of a shot is that for a 20-year-old with no previous military experience?
Well, I don't know about the shooter's experience. If you're saying he's had no experience,
none.
He at least, so if he just handed the rifle right before that, maybe that's why he took whatever it was, 5 to 8 shots. But it's still like, and again, what was the optics on the rifle? Does anyone know that?
I don't know. The closest one I saw, it looked like it might be an EOTech or something like that. But I don't think he had a glass, like real glass.
No, I don't think
real glass.
No, I don't think any variable power optic or magnification on it didn't look like it.
Okay, yeah. So that, I mean, that it could be with no training a tougher shot at, let's say 150 yards or something like that. It could be a little bit
130
tougher.
meters, give or take.
Yeah, I think
Thanks for the conversion.
9-year-old in Texas
could do that.
Can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Even if he had no training, then I'm like, how did he have enough training to stalk into the hardest position? Like,
that's the thing
in the world.
That is one of those two things can't be true. He can't be like a guy who's 20 with no training can't stalk into a position that's manned. So we know that the point of all that is we know for an absolute fact that there was nobody watching that building. No matter what any of these parties say, the police or the Secret Service, nobody was watching that building. Mm-hmm. The end. So maybe they had somebody posted on that building and he went off to piss in the woods or to take a little break or to play whatever people play on their phone. I don't know what games people play on their phone anymore. I'm too old for that shit.
Lex Friedman has just chimed in and said, thank you guys for analyzing the situation, meaning you guys. Obviously, I have no war experience outside of the 4 tours of Italy. I served at Olive Garden. Dallas, what was the record you held, you and your boys there, for the longest shot?
2.2 miles.
God.
2.2 miles away. Okay.
There was a guy in Ukraine that did it from like 8 miles.
Yeah, you got that record broken by 4 over, my man. Sorry about it.
Allegedly, yeah.
They actually added that shit to Wikipedia, too. Yeah. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
No.
For fuck's sake.
That's like 2.2 times further than mine.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
It's close enough.
It's close enough.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah, exactly.
So... Rob and Dallas, I want to pick your brain a little bit on, shooting's pretty straightforward. Counter sniper stuff here is pretty straightforward. I know people are like really interested in understanding all of that. And that's pretty straightforward in the sense that it was a clusterfuck. The biggest failures that I see were all of the things that happened leading up to him getting on that roof. And that goes over a 7-day time period. Yes. You know, you have plainclothes people, you have the Red Cells teams that are walking in and around the crowds. You know the areas, and if this building was marked, there should have absolutely been plainclothes Secret Service people working in and around that area.
You're going to have a spreadsheet with a fucking location and a human being's name beside it, or a code, or a number, or something.
And there's a party that's happening over there. A BBC interviewer went up and talked to a guy. He's like, no, we saw him climbing up there, and we're screaming for people to come over for 5 minutes.
By the way, didn't take off his Trump hat, didn't put down his beer.
He did not care.
No, America, dude.
Yeah.
So my question to both of you is, How many times did they fail in that 7-day time period, and in which ways?
Yeah, Dallas, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I think it's, and I've heard a bunch of different things throughout the day about short staffing or whatever it is. I don't think it matters. I've seen videos where on the ground there are tactical professionals. Now, how competent they are, I don't even think that really matters. I think that a kid who plays Call of Duty or a paintball kid would know that position is the first one you're going to worry about. And I could understand if the shot came from a mile and they're like, we missed it because it's way far over here in a grain elevator or something. But that position is the first one you worry about. So the fact that it wasn't being observed, wasn't being watched, they didn't have barricades around it, whatever it was, or just the person sitting on the roof that was on the government payroll. I think that it's just, to me, there's no way to connect the dot. The level of training, the level of competency almost doesn't matter. Everyone who's working there went through some kind of course. And since I got into the military basic training through infantry and into special operations, even the worst and dumbest soldiers would be like, oh, guess what? Let's worry about this building first.
Yeah, and Dallas, let me ask you this. The shooter, when he was killed, and we've seen the video and the picture, shout out Gary Faust for texting that to me last night. Who shot the shooter? Was that a sniper from the Secret Service? Were you able to see it?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see it, but I think I saw the video of the reaction.
I think that they put local cops up there to kind of delegate authority. I think because it said, as far as I know, I haven't heard of a Secret Service guy. I could be out of line.
That's all I've seen as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
When you were asking about the breakdown of the chain of command, honest to God, when I saw it today, it reminded me of that scene from Point Break when the surfers came to beat the other surfer up, and he said, well, you're going to tell me how locals, whatever. And they looked at him and go, that would be a waste of time. We're just going to fuck you up. That's where that rooftop was so obvious. You shouldn't need to put a plainclothes guy up there. It's like, this is obviously secured because no asshole would leave that alone. It's great. It's either it was on purpose or it's incompetence. It's hard to say.
Yeah, so some people in the chat were asking about did he sleep there overnight or something, and they just didn't see him. One, that wouldn't happen. But two, so far as we know, they found a van, I think, what is his van with some IEDs in it?
Correct.
Parked in a neighborhood across the way there, and he just apparently parked his van there, got out, walked over, climbed up the fucking ladder, and got on the roof and started shooting.
Yeah,
which is even worse. If there's a line of egress behind where your fucking point of view is, you have that cordoned off as well. There's patrol cars back there, for fuck's sake.
So the dude showed up to a Trump rally with a van full of explosives, a gun, then walked to 150 meters to the best vantage point to see the former president, climbed a roof that had a ladder on it, and then shot at him 5 times.
And if you believe that, I've got some beachfront property in Arizona to sell you.
Yeah, and it's a lone gunman. This is what the media is reporting. That was radically motivated with magnified ideas towards fascism and anti-hate Trump rhetoric.
Now, I'm glad you brought
a registered Republican.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad you brought that up because he was allegedly a registered Republican, but it also donated $15 to the Democratic Party. He has virtually no social media, which for a 20-year-old is shocking.
It's impossible.
In today's day and age.
Yep.
I got a 10-year-old, Christ's sake, wants to be on TikTok every fucking 15 minutes.
Not until 16.
Yeah, no. And I'm like, no, get off the fucking TikTok.
Yeah.
We're all done with that. How is that possible?
It's not possible. Everything stinks here. None of it makes sense. None of it's checking out. And moving forward, we have 6 months until an election. We have 6 months where...
4 months.
Well, he doesn't take the...
Oh, correct. Take office until 6, yes.
So, votes happen in November.
Yeah.
That's great. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't come in until January.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the real question is, how long have we not had a president? Because we were having these conversations in 2019 about Biden being out to lunch, and it was very obvious that he had vascular dementia or something was starting to happen to him, right? Yeah. And this is 2019, September of 2019 is about when we started talking about this. And it's progressively gotten worse. He could barely get through a 6-minute speech tonight. Mm-hmm. It's like, who exactly is the fucking president right now?
Yeah. Well, how do we, in Rob and Dallas, I really want to know, what do we do in the next 6 months if the Trump team is in front of you and they're saying, okay, poisoning, drones, another lone shooter, IEDs, blowing up a building and bringing the whole thing down on top of him, flying a plane into him. Like, how do we keep this? And he is going to get the nomination. And so this Republican nominee for the presidential campaign in November, how do we keep him safe till January?
I mean, it used to be you got to watch out for the absentee ballot drop boxes, which would happen in 2020. And I don't give a shit who you are. It was not a free and fair election. That used to be what you need to do. But like you're saying, Tim, now it needs to be personal security. Watch out for your families and all that bullshit. However, I do need to throw in my latest conspiracy theory. Get a load of this. A lot of this happened because of Josh Shapiro, who is the governor of Pennsylvania. He's a moderate Democrat. It's in a major swing state. And he came out today, and if you notice, as a Democrat, he said, thoughts and prayers, and we'll take a moment of prayer, blah, blah, blah. They're pushing Pennsylvania and Shapiro to be the nominee. And Joe Biden's not going to be the nominee. You heard it here first. Josh Shapiro will be.
Josh Shapiro, out of everybody. How do you skip Kamala Harris going down that chain and go all the way to Josh Shapiro?
Well, first of all, she's retarded.
Sure.
That's just a fact, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact, by the way. What he's saying is medical. He's not throwing around hyperbole.
I think it was a Montel side piece. 2024 was too much to put on a shirt.
It's 3 words. You need 2 words for a good campaign shirt.
You sure do.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, I'm glad we're recording this. Wait and see. I'm right.
Okay, why Josh Shapiro?
Pennsylvania is a swing state. You can't win it without it. And they pull him in. He sounded great. He looks great. He's young, Democrat. They got no one else. I mean, either Big Mike or what's that gay dude's name?
Pete Buttigieg?
Yeah, Buttigieg.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Obama. He can't run again.
No, he can't run again, but his wife could, and they would certainly love it. However,
well, you got to figure out Michelle Obama could win at any time. She doesn't want it. She's making way too much money. She doesn't want it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at Josh Shapiro now. I just don't see how you skip a female vice president of color for a white guy in Pennsylvania. I realize it's a swing state.
I'll tell you what, if the Democrats they've already lost this election, in my opinion.
It ended Saturday night.
If they're smart, they get Biden out of the way and they let Harris run and let her lose, so that ends her career and gets her the fuck out of there. Because she is unelectable in any election federally. Like, there's no fucking way she gets elected ever, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I agree. I would throw somebody else. I would throw her to the wolves if I'm the Democrats at this point.
Yeah.
Because you got to imagine behind the scenes, they're all huddling up saying, what do we do now? You had the debate disaster. 2 weeks have gone by. And then you have one of the most iconic images of a president in the history of our nation surviving an assassination attempt and then screaming, fight, 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 before he's pulled off stage and into a vehicle. There's got to be some talk behind the scenes this week of what else can we possibly fucking do? I literally said this on the show 10 days ago that you had the trials, didn't work. You did everything you possibly could. And my exact words on the show were, we're due for a good assassination. It's been about 60 years, and it happened 10 days later. What next, Tim? Because what you were saying earlier about flying a plane in or having a plane go down, that's kind of all you're left with at this point.
The drone thing is the real problem.
Yeah,
those other things are a little bit fantastical because it takes a lot of moving pieces to do it. Some dickhead can buy a drone on the internet, make some fucking TATP at his house, and just fly it over. And we're not really that prepared for this kind of thing right now.
If you see the tech that's in us having a conversation with one of the most brilliant men in the security industry today, and he was listing this litany of concerns around the former president's security. And he's a former one of you frog people. And he's talking about the drone tech coming out of Eastern Europe, and there's nothing that we have currently to stop it. But
wouldn't the American public view what happened Saturday, if there was another attack on Trump, as this is an absolute coordinated effort by the Democrats to kill the president running from the Republican Party?
No,
the president nominee, forgive me.
Yeah, there's this meme that's hitting right now. It's like every day for the past 5 years, that side has been saying our political opponents are domestic extremist terrorists and fascists. And then today, the day after the face of that party is almost assassinated. Whoa, guys, maybe cool down the heated rhetoric. You guys are the ones that have been causing all the problems. So it's there's nothing that we can do to fix a broken mind, and their minds are dangerously broken right now. There's not like a middle ground for us to come to and be like, hey, maybe we should keep this guy safe.
Yeah.
They're going to try to kill him.
Well, here's the interesting paradigm that's going on in media right now, media and politics right now. The left wants everybody to cool down, just relax, right? And they've all wished for Trump to get better quickly, right? I hope you feel better soon. Speedy recovery. To Hitler.
Yeah.
The guy they call Hitler, they want Hitler to have a speedy recovery.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How many, you got to wonder how many people are going to wake up and be like, wait, what? Like, I thought this guy was Hitler. Why are you wishing him a speedy recovery? Why are you saying now that we don't need to get rid of him or whatever? Because that's what you've been saying for 8 years.
Maybe Trump's a great artist too. I don't know. But one of the major talking points from the Democrats throughout this entire campaign was January 6th. I've got to imagine one of the major talking points is going to be an assassination for the Republican Party. And I don't see how the Democrats can use January 6th anymore as an argument that Republicans are violent when you just had an assassination attempt on Trump Saturday. The next week is going to be high stakes, and then, on to the Democratic convention. But Rob, according to you, in August, you think he will be replaced?
Yes. Replaced. My guess is Shapiro. And I've been saying for a year that's not going to be Biden because unlike the media that just realized the guy's fucking senile, we saw that coming a long time ago. I mean, Joe Biden was he was incoherent when he was coherent. The only guy in the room that said we shouldn't go get bin Laden. We've known that forever, and now they're they've been trying to cover it up forever. Now they're like we're the assholes for pointing out the deepfake. But yeah, it won't be Biden. It will be Shapiro. That's my call. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Whatever. I've been wrong before.
Okay. And then quickly here, we'll go around the horn to end it. Do you think Joe Biden will be the nominee for president for the Democrats?
I mean, honestly, at the rate that he's diminishing, I don't think he makes it physically that long. And I also think that it would be very smart politically to do what I said, which is to throw Harris into this election and let her lose it, to end her career, right? Because otherwise, if she's the presumptive nominee, and that's not really how it works. If she loses this time, running in 28 probably isn't going to happen for her anyways, to be honest. But you don't want to take that chance. You don't want to leave her out there as the front runner with unanswered questions. So let her fucking go in there and lose. That would be if I was a Democrat, that's what I would do.
Tim?
I've never thought that it was going to be him all the way to November. So no, the short answer is no. What I would just beg and implore the rest of Americans to realize, regardless who is, that position never really mattered. From the beginning, we the people, it's always been about the citizens, the Americans, the people that are the ones that had all the preponderance of power here. And, we are, and I'll agree with Biden in his speech right there, we are neighbors. And I would not, we were a centimeter away from a civil war.
Yeah.
I mean, it was his one degree change of his face direction, and cities are burning. And I don't want that. I want the world to look at America for what I fought for and what Rob fought for and what Dallas fought for and what even this bearded idiot fought for, something that's special. So, I don't care about Biden for the next 6 months. I want the world to look at us and be like, hey, that's how you do an election. Hey, that's how you rally from one of the most disgusting acts of political violence, an attempted assassination attempt. Holy shit, Americans are badasses.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, luckily Trump the world's talking about it right now. We've had conversations with some leftist people over the last 24 hours, people like Seattle leftist people, so real ones, right?
Yeah.
The kind of people that say, I would vote for Biden even if he was a floating head in a jar, right, over Trump. And as of the last 24 hours, they're all voting for Trump now, right? Yeah. And they say it's because that was badass. That's America right there. That's what I want to vote for. And maybe there's some degree of truth to that. But I think deep down, no matter what the choice was going to be, people don't like having it taken away from them at the base fundamental level. When they feel that happening, they're like, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see a world, unless he is taken out, that he loses this election. And I'd be real curious to be a fly on the wall inside the Democratic house. Let's just call it Obama's house. Let's be honest here. I'd like to be in Obama's house right now and try to figure out what they're going to try to do. Yeah, that one.
The bunker, yeah.
I want to be in the good one.
Yeah,
I don't want to be in D.C. Yeah, I want to be in Hawaii. But
you don't want to be in Chicago either.
No, but
by the way, you don't want to be in the lake at his guest house either.
Well, I could swim, but
so could his chef.
Yeah, well, like for a while, could.
Yeah, and then Dallas, are you still there?
Hell yeah.
Okay. How has nobody taken down Trudeau yet?
I play country music now. That's probably why.
Okay, gotcha. Good. Just checking in from an American Canadian perspective. I don't believe he's ever had an assassination attempt on his life, has he?
No, I don't think so.
Good, because we don't want any political person of any party to be assassinated ever. But he does need to take his stupid face and disappear from the face of this planet for forever.
Go back to Cuba.
Yeah.
Go back to where your dad came from.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. I agree with that entire point completely.
Yeah. Another thing is, let's say this is all on the level and it was this garden variety incompetence by the cops or Secret Service or somebody else. Have you seen the reports about the kid that he's just like some loser that got viciously bullied his entire career through high school and shit?
Oh, his entire life? Yeah. When he was, it's been mixed back and forth. There was some kids that said he was fine. He had some friends, and then there was others that said he was bullied and everything else. I've never, on something this high profile, I've never seen the media not be able to get a hold of like all the information.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't just the media right now. The Democratic Party is protecting themselves right now as well.
That's what it seems like.
Everybody's scrambling to control the narrative, and they're grasping at straws.
I mean, why does Biden keep saying we don't know the motive yet? Who fucking cares what the motive was? Find out why the Secret Service let the guy get that close first.
Yeah.
Stop talking about the motive until we know why the fuck he was standing there.
But we don't know anybody who's friends with him. Nobody's done an interview.
Well, they talk
no social.
They talked to
bizarre.
They talked to the kids he went to high school with. They say he just got bullied mercilessly.
Oh, they did.
Okay,
I did not see that. So forgive me.
Which is like, to me, a lot of failures. Everybody failed in this regard, right? Like, the left has failed in their violent rhetoric, and the right has played into it to some degree as well. Secret Service definitely failed. Maybe the local cops did as well. I don't know about that yet, but the Secret Service definitely failed here. And the response from most of the leftist politicians have been a failure. But parents failed as well. And I'm not talking about this kid's parents. Like, maybe they failed. Who knows, right? Raising kids is tough. But the parents who sent kids to school that mercilessly bullied this kid for fucking years of his life, look at a little weird, skinny kid with a fucked up face, and instead of lifting him up and turning him into a man, they drove him into the ground until he became violent with rage. That's the fucking failure that really happened here, if this story is accurate.
Yeah.
And it's unfucking acceptable. That's not leadership. You're not a fucking parent. If you're sending the kids out into the wild to fuck with other kids, instead of lifting them up and help them, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. I agree. Now's the point in the show we get to the Drinkin' Bro of the week. There was a man who died yesterday. A lot of people forget. His name is Corey Comparator.
Died saving his family.
Correct.
That's right. Dived on top of. I'm going to try to keep it together here. The Aurora shooting at the Batman Theater. Couple young men died with their girlfriends, their dates underneath them. In an era where I want young men to want to serve their country and to be masculine leaders and husbands to like lead their homes powerfully, and young men aspiring to change the world. Like these are attributes and characteristics that are like infused in our DNA, but they've been demonized for the past 30 years.
Yeah.
I don't know how old that guy was. He looked like kind of boomer,
50-ish.
Yeah, there we go.
I saw a picture with his 50th birthday
Motherfucker
party,
jumped on his family when he heard gunfire. Give me that guy.
Yeah, he did more than that female Secret Service agent did.
That kind of. I'm father of 4. I aspire. I hope that I have that. But that guy's a hero.
Yeah,
he's a former fire chief, by the way.
Yeah, and a current volunteer firefighter. You read the letter that his daughter wrote. It's just like tears my heart out.
Heartbreaking.
Well, if you go to Trump's Twitter pages, they've posted links to the family's GoFundMe page if you want to get involved in that.
And I'd say
it's already at $3 million. I think it was set for $1 million. They're dumping money in.
Well, and we'll add it to the audio description of our show when this goes out. So if you want to donate, feel free.
If we're going to talk about fundraising, if we have to privatize Trump security for the next 6 months,
will he not do that on his own?
Man,
or is it that expensive?
Okay, so you're going to take 25 Robs, 25 Dallases. Rates for dudes like that are $1,000 a day. That's so $25,000 a month times 30 days. So that's $750,000 a month over the next 6 months. So that's $4.5 million of just cost of labor. Now you have travel. It's going to be 100% travel for the next 6 months. Yeah. The equipment that's going to be needed for this, the authorizations, the authorities, the permits. That's going to be a $10 million, $5 to $10 million base expense. Nobody's making money on that. That's just like the cost.
I'll do it for free.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. What do we have to do to take Dallases and Robs and throw them in real positions of trusted inner circles to protect a man? Any man, I don't care if the things were switched right now and it was Biden, I would want the best in the world to protect that guy, to make it to the election, to watch him lose.
Yeah.
Because that's the American way.
And it's also the current president of the United States. We used to respect the position. We don't anymore.
Think of it this way. I own Lamborghini, and I don't care who's driving the car. I want my car to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's where the standards got to be. If you're out there in public and somebody walks up on POTUS trying to start some shit, you better fuck them up.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter who's in charge.
Yeah. And a lot of people in the chat were asking.
Yeah, I think something.
Oh, go ahead. A lot of people in the chat were asking the 4 of you if you guys would consider volunteering. I don't think it works like that, right?
We're in unprecedented times.
And this is going to be an unprecedented solution. Let's say Rob Dallas and I sit in a room and we start hammering out what that security plan is going to look like. I'll tell you who's not going to like it: the Secret Service, because they're not going to take or enjoy having auxiliary people attached. They're going to have authority over them. And that's what's going to happen.
I think on that point, even if we sat and made a plan, let's say us or people like us, there's enough throughout your country that I've worked with personally, just hand over a plan. Because if their plan doesn't contain, something in that plan isn't watch the most obvious position, then even just getting a plan from someone, you don't have to necessarily be badged to go do something. That could be a temporary solution. I think it's extremely important to make sure he makes it to the election. And like you're saying, a thing like this, nobody wins if someone in that position gets killed. That includes in Canada. It doesn't make either party stronger. It doesn't make the country stronger.
And it makes America way, way weaker.
That makes so much sense, though. All you said was, okay, first of all, watch the most obvious position. That's the first thing. And that was dropped. We'd save the government money. Here, watch that. Don't
Seems like an easy solution, doesn't it? Just put somebody on the roof.
But to answer that question, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, you heard Dallas say it, and I know Rob would.
Awesome.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Well, gentlemen, it was an absolute pleasure. I'm sorry it was underneath these circumstances. Rob O'Neill hosts the Operator podcast that is available every single Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. Dallas, Alexander, when's the next album coming out, my man?
That song's always coming out.
Yeah, that's true. You guys are just doing one-offs these days. It feels like everybody's doing a one-off song. When's your next single coming out?
Next month. Great. August 13th.
Awesome. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Search Dallas Alexander. You'll find me somewhere.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll find you somewhere. Spoken like a true sniper. You'll find me somewhere. Okay.
Good luck in Achilles.
Just hiding in the
I won't
bush
see you, but yeah, exactly. You're probably outside the fucking studio right now. Tim Kennedy, as always, we appreciate you being here.
Love you guys.
Check out the Tim Kennedy Book Club.
Yep.
Very interesting. Once a month, I think.
Some selections.
And congratulations on being a recent New York Times bestselling author. The book made it, and it is thriving.
Yeah,
and,
you guys, thanks to you guys, we'll do another one.
Can you imagine the people that watch this show are also avid readers? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Like I get fucking so many emails from Penguin and Random House and everybody all the time. Like, hey, can this guy come on? I'm like, yeah.
I mean, you know what that tour was like on that book release, and then I do you guys, and you guys move the needle. Yeah. Drinking Bros people can read.
Yeah.
It's better than me, evidently.
Wow.
So
I know. You look at us.
Pretty awesome.
Everybody's got resting J6
like
face,
80%.
all our audience, but they read.
I'm 80% done with book 2.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
shit. We'll come back and promote it.
You know I will. That's how it works. Rob, Dallas, love you guys.
Yeah,
Stay
love you
free.
guys.
Thanks for coming,
we
buddy.
appreciate it, especially on a Sunday night. I know we've all got families and girlfriends and whatnot, and we appreciate everybody coming together on this Sunday evening. For Rob O'Neill, Dallas Alexander, D'Anthony Hollaway, Tim Kennedy, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin' Bros Podcast. Good night, everyone.